Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a company whose innovations are woven into, well, pretty much everything you do daily.
Right. From the simple sticky note maybe on your monitor right now.
Exactly. To the really advanced stuff inside the phone you might be holding.
We are talking about 3M, a huge global name, way more than just, Scotch tape.
But what's really going on behind the curtain at such a massive, diversified manufacturer today?
Well, for this deep dive, we're digging into 3M's second quarter earnings call and their latest 10Q filing.
Not exactly beach reading, but important stuff.
Definitely not, but they're packed with insights, into
Yeah.
their financial health, their big strategic plays, and honestly, some pretty monumental challenges they're facing.
So our mission today.
Cut through the jargon, pull out the key nuggets, maybe find some of those aha moments, and leave you feeling genuinely clued in.
And figure out what it all means for you and sort of the bigger picture of global business.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. So kicking things off, let's look at the financials. 3M's performance.
Yeah, first glance, it looks like a picture of stability, really, even with the global economy kind of just moving sideways.
Right, sluggish is the word they used. Their total sales for Q2 2025 hit $6.344 billion.
Which is up 1.4% year over year. Small, but it's up.
And for the first half, $12.298 billion. Basically flat, up 0.2%.
Yeah, and what's really telling there isn't just the total number, it's the organic sales growth.
Okay, remind us what that means again.
That's the growth from their core ongoing business, stripping out currency swings, acquisitions, divestitures. It gives you a clearer view.
Got it. And that was,
It was 0.6% in Q2 and 0.2% for the first half.
which, like you said, might sound small.
But in an economy they're calling lateral, holding steady like that, it shows their core stuff is still in demand. It signals some underlying strength.
Makes sense. Okay, speaking of strengths, what about profit? Earnings.
Right, so their adjusted earnings per share, EPS, for Q2 came in at $2.16.
And that was better than expected, wasn't it?
Yeah, quite a bit better. A solid 12% jump from what they initially thought, which was around $2.
For a giant like 3M, beating by that much is pretty significant.
It absolutely is. And it wasn't just luck. It came from things like getting more efficient in their admin side, IT optimization, cutting indirect costs.
Real operational tightening.
Exactly. Plus, their free cash flow for the first half was $1.3 billion.
Which is up 10% from last year. And free cash flow is key.
Super key. It's the actual cash they generate after all the bills and investments are paid. It's what they have left over to reinvest, pay down debt, or.
Give back to shareholders.
Yeah.
Which they definitely did.
Oh, yeah. A remarkable $3 billion returned in the first half of 2025.
Through dividends and buying back stocks.
Yep. For Q2 alone, it was $400 million in dividends and a cool $1 billion in gross share buybacks.
That really signals confidence from management.
It does. And they even authorized a new buyback program back in February up to $7.5 billion.
Wow. How much is left on that?
Still about $5.7 billion available. Plus, they bumped up their Q1 dividend by 4% to $0.73 a share. It just underlines their belief in their financial stability, even with that tough global backdrop.
Okay, that's a perfect segue. The macro picture. They feel the sluggishness, but it's not uniform everywhere, is it?
No, definitely not. You see some interesting variations. China, for example, showed a strong mid-single-digit growth for them.
What's driving that growth in China specifically?
Mostly strong demand for things like their industrial adhesives, films, solutions for bonding electronics together. They seem to be grabbing some market share there, too.
Okay. But other places were weaker.
Yeah, the U.S. was only up low single digits. Some areas like electrical markets and personal safety did well, but it was dragged down by weakness in the auto sector, both new cars, the OEM side, and the aftermarket parts.
In Europe.
Kind of a similar mixed bag, flat overall, strength in electrical and safety again, but weakness in transportation safety and auto.
So it really paints a picture of them navigating a very fragmented recovery, finding growth where they can.
Precisely. And they did flag that consumer electronics might soften a bit in the second half. Slower demand for the really high-end premium devices.
It makes you wonder, how does a company like 3M keep innovating and, finding efficiencies with all these different pressures and these big legacy issues we'll get to?
That's really the core question, isn't it? And it brings us right to their focus on, well, two things: innovation and operational excellence.
It's not just what they sell, but how they make it.
Exactly. And on the innovation front, the numbers are pretty impressive.
Yeah, I saw 64 new product launches just in Q2. That seems like a lot.
It's a fast pace, and some are really interesting. Like in fire safety, they launched a new air pack. It's low profile, tough, got updated electronics for connectivity, telemetry.
Stuff firefighters need.
Right, and firefighters are apparently really liking how compact it is, easier to move in tight spots, critical stuff.
And on the consumer side.
They're building on that Filtree platform, 4 new products in the last 6 months. One sounds particularly clever.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
It's got a reusable filter frame, and you refill it with a collapsible filter. They described it as kind of like a razor blade model.
Ah, interesting. So you buy the handle, keep buying the blades. What's the advantage there strategically?
Well, it shifts them towards recurring revenue, right?
Yeah.
Builds loyalty. But it's also smart logistics. The refills are collapsible, so they cost less to ship, take up less space for retailers, storage, shelf space.
That's clever. A more sustainable model too, maybe.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely an efficient product ecosystem they're building.
So innovation, yes, but also fixing the engine room, the manufacturing side.
Absolutely. They mentioned adhesive coating, a core process for them. They have something like 250 different coaters.
And some are really old, right? Expensive to just replace.
Decades old, some of them. So instead of just ripping and replacing, they focused on optimization. There was a big effort at their Knoxville, Iowa plant.
What do they make there?
Fiber adhesive tapes. And the focus was on cutting down changeover times between products, speeding up the machines, improving uptime, basically getting more out of what they already have.
And did it work?
Big time. They saw a 12% improvement in overall equipment effectiveness, OEE.
Okay, 12% OEE boost. What does that mean in practical terms? Like, what could they do with that extra efficiency?
It means they got so much more efficient that they actually freed up enough capacity to retire 2 ancient 70-year-old coaters at a completely different facility.
Wow. So avoiding the cost of replacing those, plus maintenance.
Exactly. And they see this as a model they can roll out across other core processes, making coating, slitting, packaging. It's influencing how they think about their whole manufacturing network.
Are they using tech like AI for this?
They are, using AI models to figure out the optimal machine settings for faster changeovers, better utilization, higher yield. It's about making old assets work smarter.
It sounds like this focus on doing things better extends to quality, too.
Definitely. They track the cost of poor quality. Think scrap, rework, warranty claims.
Right. And that number went down.
Yeah, it was 6.1% in Q2, down 30 basis points just from Q1, and down 90 basis points, almost a full percentage point from the year before.
So nearly 1% less waste or cost related to quality issues. That adds up.
It absolutely does. It boosts the bottom line, keeps customers happy. It's a core part of what they call their 3M's Excellence operating model. Shows how serious they are about tightening things up.
And these operational gains seem tied into that big restructuring they've been doing since 2023.
For sure. It's all connected. That restructuring is aimed at simplifying everything: smaller corporate center, simpler supply chain, streamlined geography, fewer management layers.
Making the whole ship leaner and faster.
That's the idea. It's a big initiative, expected to impact around 8,000 jobs globally, excluding the businesses they've spun off or sold.
Where are they in that process?
As of the end of Q2, about 6,900 positions have been affected.
And you mentioned earlier that efficiency gains, like from IT and lower indirect costs, help them beat those EPS expectations.
Yes, that was a key driver. It shows these internal efforts, including the tough restructuring, are actually delivering tangible financial benefits, helping them perform despite the wider economic challenges.
Okay, which brings us to the really big challenge, the elephant in the room, maybe 2 elephants, the legal issues.
Yeah, these are significant, monumental, really. 2 main areas: the combat arms earplugs, or CAE litigation, and the PFAS litigation.
Let's start with the earplugs. Give us the quick background.
Okay, so 3M bought a company called Aero Technologies back in 2008. Aero made these specific earplugs, the dual-ended combat arms version 2, from around 1999 to 2015.
Used by the military. Right.
Primarily, yes. And 3M's position has always been that the earplugs worked, they were safe and effective if people used them correctly.
But despite that stance, there was massive litigation.
Huge. And they reached a settlement in August 2023 to try and resolve basically all of it.
How much was that settlement for?
Up to $6 billion paid out between 2023 and 2029.
And did they admit fault?
That's key. No, the settlement explicitly states 3M doesn't admit any liability or wrongdoing.
Have claimants signed on?
The vast majority. Over 99% are participating, and the payments have actually started going out.
So is it done then?
Not quite. They've accrued or set aside about $2.4 billion for this liability as of June 30th. But there's still a crucial trial coming up.
A bellwether trial.
Exactly. It's scheduled for October 20th, 2025. This one involves plaintiffs specifically alleging kidney cancer related to the earplugs.
And a bellwether trial kind of tests the waters for other similar cases, right?
Precisely. Its outcome could really influence how any remaining claims get handled.
Okay, that's the earplugs. Now, PFAS, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. This seems even bigger, maybe more complex.
It's certainly broader, and the landscape is shifting rapidly. 3M made a huge announcement about PFAS back in December 2022.
Right, they're getting out of the business entirely.
That's the plan. Exit all PFAS manufacturing by the end of 2025 and stop using PFAS in all their products by the end of 2025, too.
That's a massive undertaking.
It is. They call it addressing legacy issues, and they say they're on track to meet that deadline.
Meanwhile, regulators everywhere are cracking down on PFAS.
Absolutely. The U.S., Europe, Canada, Australia. You're seeing much stricter limits, sometimes down to non-detectable levels. The regulatory pressure is intense and growing.
How's 3M dealing with the legal side of this? Any big settlements like with the earplugs?
Yes, they're trying to, as they put it, take risk off the table. They announced a major settlement with the state of New Jersey in May 2025.
What did that cover?
Both specific site cleanup issues and broader statewide claims related to PFAS. The payments are spread out over 25 years, which helps manage the cash flow impact.
But New Jersey's just one state.
Exactly. There are over 30 other state attorney general cases still pending, some inside a big multi-district litigation, some outside. Discussions are ongoing there.
And personal injury lawsuits, too.
Those are looming. Just like with the earplugs, there's a PFAS personal injury bellwether trial also scheduled for October 20th, 2025, focused on kidney cancer claims.
October is going to be a busy month for their legal team.
You could say that. And adding another layer, the EPA designated two key PFAS chemicals, PFOA and PFOS, as hazardous substances under CERCLA back in April 2024.
Okay, CERCLA, that's the Superfund law, right? Why is that designation significant?
It basically gives the EPA more power to require investigation and cleanup of sites contaminated with PFOA and PFOS and potentially recover costs. It increases the scope of potential liability for companies involved with these substances.
So all these PFAS issues,
Yeah.
What's the hit to their finances looking like?
It's substantial. As of June 30th, they've recorded $7.4 billion in liabilities, specifically for other environmental liabilities, which is mostly PFAS related.
$7.4 billion set aside. Has that number been growing?
Yes, they actually increased that amount by about $0.4 billion just in the first half of 2025. And the actual cash going out the door is significant, too. Payments for these environmental matters totaled $1.8 billion in the first 6 months of the year.
Wow. $1.8 billion in just 6 months. Are they getting any help from insurance for these massive costs?
They're trying. They are actively pursuing insurance recoveries and recorded about $85 million in benefits in the first half of the year.
$85 million sounds good, but compared to the billions in liabilities.
Exactly. They've basically acknowledged that insurance won't cover everything. The total liabilities are expected to exceed their policy limits. So a lot of this cost comes directly out of their own resources.
Okay, so with these huge legal payments happening, how does a company like 3M stay financially stable? Let's talk about their financial flexibility.
It's a crucial piece of the puzzle. Despite those big outflows, their balance sheet still shows strength. Their working capital actually increased by nearly $1 billion since the end of last year.
How did that happen with all the payouts?
Mostly because other short-term liabilities, like those related to the legal settlements coming due and some short-term debt, decreased. It was offset a bit by having less cash on hand, but overall, working capital improved. It shows they're managing the moving parts.
And they have access to cash if needed.
Definitely. They keep cash on hand, obviously, but they also have a big safety net, a $4.25 billion revolving credit facility, like a giant credit card they haven't used. It was completely undrawn as of June 30th.
That backup must be important for confidence and for their credit ratings.
Absolutely critical. It helps them maintain those investment grade ratings. A3 from Moody's, BBB Plus from S&P, A from Fitch.
Why do those ratings matter so much?
They directly impact how much it costs 3M to borrow money. Good ratings mean lower interest rates, which is vital when you're managing big long-term liabilities and still need to invest in the business.
We saw that cash flow from operations was down quite a bit in the first half compared to last year, right? By $2.8 billion.
Yes, and that was primarily driven by those $1.8 billion in payments for the PFAS and CAE settlements hitting the books. You really see the direct impact there.
But they seem to be managing their debt okay?
They are. They had about $1.25 billion in debt, mature and get paid off in the first half, but they also issued about $1.1 billion in new debt. So they're strategically managing their debt profile to maintain flexibility even with those settlement outflows.
Okay, and one last piece on the financial front, taxes. Any help there?
Yeah, the current tax situation is actually somewhat favorable for them. It's helping them keep their effective tax rate down, sort of in the 20% range, which is pretty good.
How does that work?
Things like how their foreign income is taxed, the GILTI rates. Now, some benefits like bonus depreciation and R&D deductions are being temporarily dampened by the costs associated with the PFAS exit for the next couple of years.
But longer term.
Longer term, those tax aspects are expected to be helpful again. So it's a bit of a near-term headwind offset by a generally decent tax structure.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting, pulling it all together.
Yeah.
We've seen 3M pushing hard on innovation, 64 new products, streamlining operations, boosting efficiency, retiring old machines.
Right. Focusing on the core business, managing finances tightly, returning cash to shareholders.
And yet they're simultaneously dealing with these absolutely massive legal challenges. Billions in liabilities from legacy issues like CAE and PFAS.
It's a huge weight.
So the big question for you listening is this. In today's world, where these kinds of legacy problems can create such enormous financial and reputational headwinds, how does a company like 3M, a diversified giant, not just survive, but actually keep pushing forward on new products, efficiency, and shareholder returns?
It's an incredible balancing act.
It really is. And what does that constant juggling tell you about the kind of, well, intricate resilience needed to operate and succeed in the global business landscape today?
Definitely something to chew on.
Something to think about as you continue your own deep dives.